Hey everybody, Adam Savage alongside Dan Lanigan. Dan, we are here enmeshed in part of your beautiful collection. And I want to tell you, I'm having this interesting experience as we were waiting for cameras to be set up, as I realized, oh, I'm in a room that is as distracting to me as my own shop.
Wow.
Yes.
That's saying something.
Your collecting desires overlap greatly with mine.
Well, you have great taste.
Dude, we are standing in front of your indie shelf, and this is an unbelievable collection of Indiana Jones memorabilia. Yeah. Okay, talk to me about what Indiana Jones means to you.
Indiana Jones is, to me, is adventure, it's intrigue, it's education, it's all of these wonderful things wrapped up in something that feels like it's both out of the 80s and the 40s and 50s. Yeah. And for me, Indy searching for his treasures that he wants to put in a museum kind of
I see the analogy.
It encourages me to find pieces of my own within the world of movie memorabilia and movie props and costumes.
Incredible. Yeah. Among Indiana Jones props, one of the most famous is the Golden Idol from the very opening of Indy. And I walked in here and I knew that you possessed this piece, but I have only seen pictures of this specific idol. Can you tell me about her?
Yeah, so this particular piece is really interesting because a friend of mine tracked it down in Hawaii, Brandon Allinger, which you know very well. So Brandon put a ad in a paper in Hawaii looking for stuff that people had kept from Raiders of the Lost Ark when they shot there. And he got this letter saying, oh yeah, I have one of those idol things. And he's like, wait, what? And then he called the guy up and they start talking about it. And he's like, man, I got to get some cash and get on a plane. Yeah. And that's what he did. And he picked it up. And he had it for a number of years. I had been collecting Indiana Jones for a long time at that point. So Brandon picks up this piece and brings it home and he shows it to me and it blows me away. And he had it for a few years and I kept saying, if you ever let it go, I would love to be the new home for it. And one thing led to another, and he had a big acquisition coming up for himself that was even more impressive than this, which you can say is pretty impressive. Yeah. So we worked out a deal, and I wound up bringing this home, and it has kind of been the centerpiece of my collection next to my Indy costume.
Talk to me about why it's green.
Okay, so the green is the color of the resin that was initially made in, and it was plated. Right. And the plating has since come off. It's had a lot of damage over the years, but it is still what it is. And what is rare about it is it's one of the few idols that has the baby doll eyes in it.
Oh, right, yes. The actual eyes.
Right.
So when you say plated, I just want the audience to understand, this is actually, I believe, sputter coated.
Okay, sputter coated. So you probably would know more about this than I do.
Yeah, right. So this is, normal plating is you put it in a bath with electricity and acid and transfer metal ions over. This is a process where you actually melt a tiny amount of metal in a vacuum and it coats everything. That's how this, the headpiece of the staff was coated. Right. And like children's toys, that's how they're made to look silver. Okay. Is a sputter coat. And it is only angstroms thick. It's very, very delicate. Right. And on things like old resin, where plasticizers can leach out of the resin and create and just push, and they can literally just push the coating off the object.
Is that how the C-3PO costumes were done as well?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why those costumes, anything really that's seen a lot of use would kind of lose it.
Exactly. Yeah. You'll see it wearing on the corners and stuff. It's because the coating is so thin. The baby doll eyes are such a crazy addition because it's a late life understanding that it had eyes.
Yeah, yeah. Because the transfer, you really couldn't tell in the on the DVDs and the early DVDs and the VHSs certainly until you saw the Blu-rays.
So the other thing that is less obvious to the audience, but I want to talk about is like every object here is the spear point of a desire, a research, an adventure, a travel. Yeah. And then this had to come here. I want to talk about how you transferred this from, I guess, Los Angeles, where Brandon had it, to here in Chicago. Did you hand carry it?
I hand carried it
suspiciously to everybody?
On the plane. It was very nerve-wracking. It was in a metal case that had a foam fill that had basically formed around it. So once, two halves, and I just carried it very delicately. A few pieces of the liner, the gold came off, but very small pieces, and I felt like it was really, really successful in a movie. Yeah.
Oh my God, it is such an unbelievable piece, man. I like it in my Golden Idol research folder. I have pictures of this from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is I think because the resin is this kind of greenish jade color, it almost feels like it's still an artifact.
It does,
even though it is just the material that had been poured in. It's
I
not
know.
gold. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. You've got this little spear here.
Yes.
Is that the spear from the sprr?
Yes, it is. Yes, the air-blown spear tips that would have come out. Yeah,
so
of the walls.
Thing is I walked in here and I was like, oh, that's definitely the spear from the movie. It's like a popsicle. I mean,
exactly.
It's a skewer, right?
Yeah,
it's nothing.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
My brain was like, oh, that's the one from the movie. Everything up here feels like it's a one of one, but I want to talk about the headpiece of the Staff of Ra, because this is a very special piece.
It is, it is. So this is one of the Raven Bar versions of the headpiece, which is a different sculpt, and the original sculpt, although they did have previous versions of it that they didn't shoot on, this is the first version they shot on, and ultimately, when they did the inserts, they created a new sculpt that was much tighter and much more relief on it, with a special outside detail that was added as a separate piece.
Ah, so for the filming, this was the one they were using most of the time, and for close-ups, the one that I'm familiar with the dimensional feathers.
Exactly.
And until only recently, it was just speculated that there might be two headpieces. Am I right?
Right. Yeah.
We didn't know about the existence for a long time.
No.
You knew longer than
I did, and when I acquired this piece, I acquired it with two prototype versions of it as well.
Oh, wow.
That have different details on the sculpt, so you can see the progression.
It is so cool, because the way it reflects light in the Ravenwood bar is very specific.
It is.
You showed this to me about 10 years ago, and I was all like, oh, the Ravenwood bar! Because at that moment in my head, I had never confirmed that a second one existed.
That's right.
I love these intricacies of, like, Spielberg has a piece made for the film, they shoot with it and it's just fine, and then he's doing inserts of all things, and he's like, nope. Let's go back to the drawing board and make one that's different.
That's right. It's not looking how I imagine it's supposed to look on film, so they change it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Speaking of choosing wisely, you have a couple of Grails
yes,
here.
Yes,
Are these the heroes?
So this is a hero,
Gotcha.
but this one does not match on screen. It is one of the Keel Lusby's produced pieces.
Do you know how many were produced for the film?
There was probably at least 10, because they were fired like a traditional cup, a traditional terracotta cup. The false idol, that is was a rented piece for production. It is a English church.
Taking Holy Sacrament.
So the Holy Sacrament, and it was rented. They took a casting of it. They created a rubber for it, a rubber stunt, which I don't think you see on film. Lucasfilm kept that one, and this one went back, and then ultimately I tracked it down in an auction. So that actually screen matches.
Amazing.
To the scene when he drinks from the cup.
Oh, okay. I'm just moving through this shelf, but I'd love you to tell me what some of your favorite pieces are here.
I have to say the whip is certainly a favorite of mine. It's one of the earliest pieces I've got.
Is it all right if I pick this up?
I suppose. Are your hands clean?
My hands are clean.
There we go. Take a look.
Oh, it's smaller than I thought.
Yeah. So this is a 8-foot whip.
Gotcha.
Right.
And is this from which movie is this?
This is from Temple of Doom.
Gotcha. The maker of these whips, David Morgan, up in Seattle, back in the 90s, I taught myself how to make a whip from a Tandy leather brochure.
Wow.
And then I had questions after making my first whip out of the cowhide. And I called David Morgan's company and I asked to speak to David, and he got on the phone. And he gave me 90 minutes of instruction.
Wow.
About how he made the Raiders whips. And then I bought a kangaroo hide from him that he specifically chose for me that would make a 10-foot roo hide bullwhip. And that was my first indie whip, which is literally twice as thick in the handle, because I'm using my bellies were too fat and all of that stuff. But
Were you surprised at how much work there is to put together a whip?
The amount of work to make a whip is hilarious.
Yeah.
And the surprising thing for me is that in order to get an 8-foot whip out of a hide of kangaroo leather, which is never longer than about 38 inches, you cut it in a circle.
Right.
And so you start out here is a 12-plate braid, which means 12 laces.
Right.
And then you drop 2 about every regular distance until you get out to the end where there's...
Which is all weaved together as it goes.
Which is 6 at the end. So you lose pairs until you go from 12 to 6. And then in order to mark that, you start out with a fat whip, right? 12 laces, and then you mark the 12, and then you mark the 2 that you moved, now it's 10, then you mark the 2 you moved, now it's 8, you mark the 2. So marking the whip for cutting took me 7 hours.
Wow.
The cutting and braiding was less than that.
Really?
Yeah, the marking it out and just like making sure I got the dimensions right was the most laborious and time-consuming
I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, the braiding is actually very fast and really fun. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm holding an Indiana Jones whip. I'm going to give this back to you before I get too much sweat on it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Have you ever taken that out into the yard and tried to crack it?
No, I haven't. I have a David Morgan 10-foot whip.
Oh, nice.
No, a 12-foot whip
Yeah.
that I bought as a new whip that I could go out and crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't bring myself to that.
I totally get that.
I know it's these things are made to be used, but at the same time, I don't want to damage this guy.
No, I could imagine you crack it and in the end just disintegrates,
Yeah,
right? That would be the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I'm successful cracking it and the whip breaks at the time. It's like, oh, that's not good.
Back when I first got to ILM, I told my supervisor, Brian Garnett, that I had made an Indiana Jones Raiders whip. And he was like, you've got to bring that in tomorrow and show it to me. And so I brought it in and I showed it to him. The one I'm describing to you, the big fat one. And he's like, crack it. And I'm like, we don't have enough room here. And he's like, where do you need room? And he took me to this warehouse. And it was the warehouse where all of the models for episode 1 had been arrayed around this giant warehouse.
Geez.
And he had me stand on a table. And I'm cracking this whip like a rifle shot in front of like $20 million of models. Thinking, and he's like, crack it again.
Oh my gosh. I would have been freaking out.
Oh, it's really fun. I cracked it twice and then I was like, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
I got sweaty just telling that story. Okay, let's. Oh my goodness, I'm like a kid in a candy store, man. You've got the Sankara stones.
I don't want to talk about
Okay, fair. That's totally fair. I don't know.
No. So these particular stones were stones that Planet Hollywood had for many years. And when Profiles in History did one of their sales, they sold this set, and I immediately recognized them. I'm like, I know that set. Those are real, and that center one I think matches. And it wasn't listed in the description. So I, sure enough, sat down with Caleb. We looked into it. That is the main stone that Indiana Jones handles at the end of the film when he hands it back to the leader of the village.
Incredible.
Yeah, and the other 2 are the different styles, because there were 3 different styles.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to match those, but I feel like I'm so lucky, because that's the only matched stone that I know that exists outside of Lucasfilm.
That's incredible. To look at an auction catalog and realize you know more about the object.
Than they did.
It's happened to me a couple times.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, I think that happens a lot with us collectors, is we're so obsessed about this stuff.
Right.
We do so much research, and then between us and confidential friends that you're sharing information with, it really allows you to occasionally pick up pieces that are not known to the general public.
Well, I think of the development as we develop these eyes for tiny
That's
details.
True.
I had a friend walk into my cave and look at the 12 Stormtrooper helmets I have, and they could name not only which movies they were each for. Not that my Stormtrooper helmets have screen lineage,
right?
But
sure.
Like, oh, that's a blah blah blah. Oh, but he knew who made each helmet.
Right. Exactly.
Every single one.
That is some serious knowledge.
No, I know, and we run into that kind of stuff all the time.
That's
and
right.
I have that kind of knowledge about some objects.
Yeah, sure.
Dan, we could spend another couple of days going through all of this, but it is.
You know what? You'll just have to come back out.
I totally will. It gives me so much joy to stand here. It must do the same for you.
Oh, I love it.
It is an unparalleled collection of
Sometimes
one-of-ones.
I'll come down to to my display space here and just hang out and work on model kits, and it's just fun.
That's
it's fun.
beautiful.
But my ultimate goal is to put this stuff in a museum. Although I'm curious to see what Mr. George Lucas does with his museum he's building. There are rumors that it's going to have Star Wars pieces and probably some Indiana Jones stuff. So if he's got an exhibit, I might not need to. But I do have a few pieces he doesn't have, like the blood cup.
The blood cup. But you're driven to let other people see this stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You want this vicarious thrill.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
So
I look forward to your museum in the future.
Fantastic,
man. Dude. Thank you so much. This is
absolutely
incredible.
Love having you here.